What's up, guys? Welcome to another video of DevTalks with your host Travian, where we talk about everything engineering technology wise. And in this video, we're going to be diving into a tragedy that happened with Tesla. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And let's dive right in.
A Florida jury forcing Tesla to pay $243 million to victims in a deadly 2019 crash. The jury finding flaws in Tesla's self-driving software were partly to blame.
We can be proud that we stood up and that we did everything in our power to help shine light on what's going on.
She's right there in the bushes.
Dylan Angulo was seriously injured and his girlfriend Nibel Benavidez died after the Model S electric vehicle seen here and driven by George McGee crashed into them. McGee testifying he believed the autopilot would break if an obstacle was in the way. As for Tesla, the verdict is a significant setback for the automaker, focusing much of its attention on developing self-driving taxis.
They use production vehicles as beta tests.
This is why I say self-driving vehicles and FSD needs to be perfect out on the streets. Nearly perfect for them to be okay and for people to be comfortable about it, because there's a large group of people, not saying that as everybody, not saying it's 90%, but there is a group of people who don't trust these things on the road at all. This is in regards to Waymo and Tesla and all these other companies that are going to be out here with FSD. This is really a tragedy, really. It really is, because it looked like they weren't even the ones in the Tesla vehicle. They were the vehicle that Tesla drove into as they were parked. Who knows what was going on while they're parked sitting there. That's not the point of this video. But the main point is that, yes, Tesla's technology typically is smart enough to auto lock and brake. So something was wrong in the software, because even if somebody tried to drive into them purposely or whatever, their software is supposed to brake on its own. No matter what it is, when it feels, sees, senses objects, that is exactly what it's supposed to do. And I've seen it happen in real life plenty of times, where even if there's times where people would be getting ready to rear end me and their Tesla brakes for them and stops them and halts. So this is for surely partially Tesla's fault in a sense of a way. And the only reason Tesla is partially at fault because of this is because their software is supposed to stop and brake. If they didn't have FSD and stuff in their vehicles, and this is somebody running into them, they would not have incurred the fault. But since their vehicles are supposed to be in that kind of way for safety and everything, that is why they had to cough up $240 million, and their sales are already down, and they have to go through stuff like this as well too. So when we go out here and we look at all these robotaxi stuff that is coming out, all these self-driving vehicles that are coming out, we look at all the Waymos expanding. The robotaxis just did their beta launch pretty much, where they're testing out the robotaxis in Austin before the cybercabs become a national thing. You have Lucid about to do robotaxis with Uber. This is going to be a widespread thing where a lot of these vehicles have FSD, and if FSD is full self-driving, and they're going to have to be safe. Safety is the number one thing. So when we look at drivers already, right? Everybody out there on the road, it's funny because it's way safer to fly than it is to drive, right? But the thing, and the reason that is because everybody who has a license is not a safe driver. They're not a good driver. They are not even, they can be intoxicated in any type of way. They can be on drugs. Who knows? There's a lot of different influences that comes on with traffic, and driving and the person behind the wheel that causes all of these safety concerns about what possibly happens. Now, somebody can make an excuse, hey, if there's more people who are taking robo-taxis and they're not driving the cars and it's just software driving the cars, maybe traffic will flow a lot better. Well, here's the thing. There's limitations. There's software is going to mess up. It's not going to be 100% all the time. What happens if everybody's in all these FSD vehicles and they're all on the highway? Yeah, 96% of the time, they might be able to drive without an accident. But there might be 4% of the time where one hits another one and it causes a pileup, or they following somewhat too close somehow and accidents happen some crazy way, and they still get into these issues like this. Like the vehicle is supposed to stop. Right, you see the vehicle is supposed to stop, and of course it's recorded with the accident and things being in a Tesla, but that's the expectation that was set for these vehicles and how safe they're going to be, and this is going to be across the board. So if anything happens in any regards where human life gets injured, that company is going to be liable until they find some loop around like, hey, this is not our fault, it's their software. They are going to be liable regardless in accidents like this. So when we see things like this happening and people die from accidents like this that are really unfortunate to happen, you have to sit there and you have to think, how safe do we want to get these vehicles to be at? And how many is too many? How many mistakes is too many for the software for it to be okay or not? That's what we have to really sit here and ask ourselves with it, because a lot of people have an expectation that this stuff is just going to be perfect. It's going to run the way that it's supposed to run. And that's just not the case for everything. In life, nothing is going to turn out perfectly. So are we okay with this happening 1% of the time? 200 accidents a year? Who knows? Who knows what the numbers will really look like? Like I remember Waymo, they went through and they basically got in a bunch of accidents. They were driving on the wrong sides of the road, and then what happens if stuff like that happens and somebody who's an actual person driver is not paying attention and they drive into them? But the Waymo's on the wrong side of the road. Even though that person is not paying attention, it's on the wrong side of the road, caused an accident because it's not supposed to be there. It's facing the wrong way. These are things that we're going to start seeing a lot more frequently. What people don't understand sometimes is when technology gets better and we introduce these new things into our society, even though it can have some benefits, there are also some risks that come along with it and new things that people haven't thought about when they're introducing this new stuff into society. So these are all little things that we have to think about and whatever. But let's listen a little bit more of what they have to talk about in this crash, unfortunately, and then we'll wrap this up.
On our public roadways. And then, unfortunately,